Okay, so I've had this for a while now, and I've always kind of wondered what was in it, and I figure what perfect time to check it out than with you guys. So this is Titanic 100 Years Below. You can see it includes a DVD, CD, a book, and memorabilia of our beloved R.M.S. Titanic. Of course, this was 100 years, and now this is 2024, so it officially is 112 years. So I'm going to go ahead and, looking at the front of the box, you can see some of the stuff that comes in the box. Deluxe Centenary Edition, and look at all those goodies. And you see a beautiful illustration of her on a cover. Looking at the side, Titanic, 100 years. It's the same on both sides. Looking at the back, it shows you some of the things that the set comes with, and it's got some information at the top. Just 4 days into her maiden voyage, the calmest of conditions, R.M.S. Titanic struck an iceberg and sank. More than 1,500 passengers and crew perished in what became the most famous maritime disaster. Over 100 years on from that tragic night, the special collection brings together a fascinating documentary that revisits the wreck site and wonderfully illustrated handbook revealing the ship's history and an array of memorabilia beautifully recreated from the original materials, the National Archives in London, England. Also a tribute to one of the most enduring stories remembered from that fateful night. A CD of songs from the era the band played on is included in this definitive collection. I can already tell you right now, as much as I want to put this up for you guys, I'm just about positive the copyright strikes will not let me. It actually shows you now some of the things that are included. Titanic, A Tale of Two Journeys, DVD. Dive into the dark, cold waters of the North Atlantic and take on an unforgettable voyage 2.5 miles beneath the waves, the final resting place of the R.M.S. Titanic. This moving film reveals details of the wreck site as few have ever seen it before, giving new perspective on the momentous events of Titanic's tragic final journey. The next, the CD they were talking about. The band played on CD 25 songs from the glorious era of R.M.S. Titanic, featuring hits of the age from the Troubadours, the Songbirds, including Irving Berlin, Django Reinhardt, and Marie Lloyd. So this could be fun. Of course, I'm going to put this on my phone, and I will give you guys, well, we'll go through the list of songs. Next is The Story of Titanic, an actual hardcover book. From its original construction and launch through the improbable yet deadly combination of events that contributed to its sinking. This gripping 100-page book takes an in-depth look at the tragic story of the passenger ship that never completed its maiden journey, and that's cool. That's awesome. That might be a video unto itself. And then we get the memorabilia pack, a collection of rarely seen R.M.S. Titanic memorabilia, recreated from original materials at the National Archives in London, England. Items include blueprints from the original design of the ship, crew records and official ID cards, 6 emergency telegrams from the night of collision, a hand-drawn diagram revealing the ensuing rescue attempt by the SS Bremer, an official letter from the White Star Line, a personal account from a survivor of the disaster, letters of sympathy, postcards, and much more. And that's going to be wonderful to go through. Okay, so it looks like the cover is going to come off from the front, so let's see if we're actually going to be able to keep the plastic on to keep it protected. So we're going to cut into the bottom first, and then we'll go to the sides. That just did not want to open. Okay. But, hey, check it out. At least I was able to save the plastic, and that's important to me only because this is a protection to the box. So let's see. I'll put this behind a lovely lady right here and use that in the background. So the first thing I notice Just look at that. Titanic 100 years below, and this is the memorabilia. Oh, this is going to be amazing to go through. What I'm going to do is we'll go through everything in the box. We'll go through the contents, and then I'll go through it in a little more detail. So let's put this over here for now. Let's see, next up, we've got Titanic Collector's Edition. This is the memorabilia booklet. Oh, this is going to be nice. I like that. So we can put this right over here for now. Let's see. Next we have, looks like the DVD itself. Titanic, Maritime's Most Notorious Disaster. Look at the picture of the bow. A Tale of Two Journeys, DVD, and the band played on CD. The fate of the R.M.S. Titanic, the unsinkable ship that never completed its maiden voyage, has enthralled us for 100 years. Her power to captivate the world has only grown with every year she has lain on the seabed, so tantalizingly out of reach. Now join a voyage of discovery as one man sets out to seek the wreck of the Titanic with his own eyes. The result is a unique film that shows the enduring passion of Titanic, the enormous challenges that must be conquered in order to visit the site, and the amazing remains that still lie on the ocean floor, waiting for those brave and dedicated enough to make their journey down. Accompanying this moving documentary is a CD of music from the age of Titanic the band played on. And we have a song list here. Looks like we have 25 songs. We've got The Band Played On by Guy Lombardo, My Melancholy Baby by Al Bowley, Oh You Beautiful Doll, the American Quartet, Come Josephine and My Flying Machine, Harry Talley, I Wonder Who's Kissing Her Now, The Dining Sisters, It's a Long Way to Tipperary, John McCormick, Every Little Movement, Marie Lloyd, Let Me Call You Sweetheart, Cliff Stone, From the Land of the Sky Blue Water, Edith Mason, Shine on Harvest Moon, Kate Smith, Pineapple Rag, Scott Joplin, Boiled Beef and Carrots, Harry Champion, Alexander's Ragtime Band, Irving Berlin, By the Light of the Silvery Moon, the Deep River Boys, On Moonlight Bay, Betty Johnson and the Johnson Singers, Black and White Rag, Ralph Sutton, Isn't Love a Grand Thing, Ada Jones and Billy Murray, The Rose of Tralee, John McCormick, Some of These Days, Django Reinhardt, number 20, Roman in the Gloamin', Sir Harry Lauder, 21, When the Irish Eyes Are Smiling, John McCormick, Meet Me Tonight in Dreamland, Vaughn Monroe and his orchestra, In the Garden, Betty Johnson, When I Lost You, Morton Downey. And incidentally, this is Morton Downey, the father of Morton Downey Jr., who had that talk show during the 80s and early 90s. I don't know if you guys, it's pretty amusing, but that's a whole other video. And 25 is Nearer My God to Thee by Joe Stafford. So we have a collection of the songs. I can't wait to listen to the CD. So when we open up the case, you can see the CD. Speaking of the CD, that's what it looks like. The band played on. We have a small booklet, and then on the other side we have the DVD. So let me fix it to there. Maritime's Most Notorious Disaster, A Tale of Two Journeys. I cannot wait to watch this. This also comes with a small booklet inside. Titanic, the band played on. Various artists bring you 25 songs from the glorious era of Titanic, featuring hits of the age from the Troubadours, the Songbirds, including Irving Berlin, Django Reinhardt, and Marie Lloyd. A beautiful illustration of her right there. And you can see a picture of the band from Titanic. One of the most enduring tales of the fateful night a century ago, when R.M.S. Titanic sank during its maiden voyage, was the ship's orchestra playing to the bitter end. The songs that played the night they faced their own certain demise helped to calm the spirits of those passengers on board as the lifeboats were filled. We present this album, musical hits of the age, including many songs that witnesses claim were played by the band as the ship went down, as a tribute to the courage of those brave men who perished at their post. The Titanic Band, Wallace H. Hartley, who was the bandmaster, John F. P. Clark, Percy C. Taylor, Georges A. Crins, Theodore R. Brayley, John L. Hume, John W. Woodward, and Roger M. Bricu. And then on the other side it gives you again a list of the songs that we had gone over. So this is a nice little booklet that's included with the CD, and on the other side we have the movie or the DVD. So this is beautifully packaged. Let's put this on the side. Let's see, is there anything else in here after the book? So that's everything in the box, but I want to show you the book. Let's see if I can get this back. Okay. It comes with a beautiful hardcover book, The Story of Titanic by Henry Hurst. You see a beautiful picture of her lovely stern. You can see the some of the advertising back in the day. I've always liked this one that I have for all my videos at the desk. This gripping 100-page book takes an in-depth look at the tragic life of the passenger ship that never completed its maiden voyage, from its origins, construction, and launch, to the improbable yet deadly combination of events that contributed to its sinking. Meet the characters that brought the ship into being. Discover the catastrophic flaws in design and decision-making that led so many innocent lives lost, and understand how events unfolded once the fatal iceberg was struck. Packed full of rare archive photos, newspaper clippings, and interesting facts, this book tells the full story of the ship that has captivated us since the fateful night over a century ago. So I love that they did this, and you know what I'm actually going to do, guys? This is going to deserve its own video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the book, and then I'm going to do a video giving the book full credit and devoting the whole video to this book. So let's put this aside for a moment. And that's everything that's in the kit. So what I'd like to do now is I want to get to the memorabilia. So we can put this over there. So let's take everything out. It's in an envelope, cardboard envelope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything, because it'll be a little bit easier. And there's a lot of stuff in here. This is amazing. I love it. All right. First thing I notice is we have the little cards. This is just amazing. So this is an identification card, and this belongs to a Harold Godfrey. And you can see the information that's on the front of the card and on the back. Remember, back in the day, they probably would have had a separate picture of him that had like a paper clip on it. I don't think they would have actually had printed version of the picture. So remember, this would have been a separate photo. Let's see, we got another one. Let's see, does it have a name? Christian name? Ernest Illen. We have a picture of this gentleman on the back. Let's see, this one is, let's see, it looks like Walter Binstead, and I want to pronounce these names correctly. And we have a photo of Mr. Binstead on the back. This one is, let's see, it looks like Percy Ball. You can see a picture of Mr. Ball. There's quite a few of these. Okay, this one looks like Alfred Edgar Windlebank. And they have a photo of Mr. Windlebank. Next, it looks like Alan Mardo Baggett. And we got a photograph of this gentleman. And again, guys, if you're wondering, because this looks like it's got a birth date and some personal information on this, remember, the families had to sign off on this before the company could actually produce these. So either it was the family signing off, or there was absolutely no family left to ask permission for this. So a lot of this information would have been so outdated. So that's why I don't have a problem showing you guys. Plus I want you guys to actually see all of this. And lastly, we have, it looks like James William Plethora, and his last name is Wilter. And here's a photograph of Mr. Wilter. It's funny that these, I guess they were told not to smile because these actually look like mug shots when you think about it. Or I guess, you know, when you go for a passport or a driver's license, you can't smile. That's true. Although this gentleman's kind of smiling, but those are the identification cards, and that was really fun to go through. And now this is really awesome. So we're going to have, and again guys, these are copies. And I had shown you guys, I think it was last year or the year before, I showed you a lot of the reproductions of the original, like the messages and a lot of the information from the ship, and it was really cool. This is actually a message that was taken from the Marconi operator. And you can see the top says the Russian East Asiatic. And it says, let's see, is that an S800 radio telegram, Burma. You can see the origin coming from Titanic. You can see the remarks, General Distress Call, or CQD. At the time it was new. CQMGY, women and children in boats cannot last much longer, MGY. And how scary is that? Is this a way to just bring you back 112 years as the ship is going down and they're just fighting for survival? We have another message. The Russian boat Arctic, is this the same? The Asiatic, okay, that still was a little smudged. So again, on the Asiatic, the origins of the station of the ship around midnight, and you can see the message itself is the first message sent to Titanic from Burma, MGY SBA. What is the matter with you? D. The answer is we have struck an iceberg and sinking. Please tell Captain to come, MGY. And again, how doesn't that just kind of give you the chills hearing this? Remember, they didn't have iPhones and texts back then. This is the closest that we can relate to actually a text, was the wireless. Again, the Asiatic. And this is a little bit smudged. You can see the number on top is M16307. Let's see. MGY, we are only 100 miles from you, steaming 14 knots. Be with you by 6:30. Our position, latitude 40 by 48 north, longitude, I Can't tell if that's 68 by 16 West, SBA. Moving on to another telegram. Again from the Asiatic. And this is coming from Titanic. And this is, you can see the time this was handled in August 14th and 15th of 1912. Distress call. Ligs loud. CQD SOS from MGY. We have struck an iceberg, sinking fast. Come to our assistance. Position, latitude 41.46 north, longitude 50.14 west. Again, this just give you the chills. Of course, where the distress was sent and where the ship actually sank and was discovered are two totally different places. Again, this is the Asiatic. And this is coming from Titanic about 1:40 a.m. SOS, SOS, CQD, CQD. We are sinking fast. Passengers being put into boats. Again, this is just, wow. And the same number is appearing on all of them, M16307. So I wonder what that signifies. It looks like something that was stamped on it. So when it comes to, it looks like that's it right now for the actual telegraph messages. All right, so I don't know if this is actually a message. Let's see. This is actually a letter. So this is a steamship from Liverpool, August 27th of 1912. You can see the stationery is from R.M.S. Olympic. To the receiver of the wreck, Custom House, Liverpool. You can see again the stamp. So this is on White Star stationery. You see a beautiful illustration of the Olympic. So the letter says, "Dear Sir, referring to your printed notice of the 26th instant regarding the Titanic, we beg to say that all the information as to the passengers on board and the number saved is shown on pages 23 and 24 of the report of the inquiry." By the way, I've shown you the inquiry into the loss of the steamer. No doubt this will give the desired particulars in the most convenient form. Yours faithfully, Ismay, Emery and Company. You can see a signature. Let's see. This looks like, wow, I really wish this was real. So this is from the White Star line, and this is actually in regards to R.M.S. Olympic. So we've got the deck plans. Wow, can you imagine having this for the real copies? So this is the White Star liner R.M.S. Olympic. Plan showing position of the emergency stations and routes. Passengers should follow routes shown by the arrows tinted similarly to the color of the accommodation as indicated in this plan. This emergency station plan was drawn up for the R.M.S. Olympic as a result of the Titanic disaster. So we're starting off with the boat deck. And then you can see the emergency stations on deck A. And you can see going down to deck B and deck C. Let's see, deck D, deck E, and deck F. So this is amazing. I'm sure the original is probably in a museum somewhere, but I love the fact that this was included. Okay, and now I think I see some plans. I love this. Let's see, we can actually So these are the blueprints. You can see Olympic Titanic, plan of crew and specifications. Let's see, that's the boat deck. Let's see that so that there's no glare. And the promenade deck. See the bridge deck. Let's see, what is that? You see part of the crew quarters. The upper deck. And the middle deck. And again, can you imagine actually having the real copies of this? I'm sure they're tucked away in a museum somewhere. All right, what is this now? Post office telegraphs, and you can see the stamp. This one is M10491. It looks like this is April 17th. I can't really tell that stamp, but this is a telegraph, government dispatch. The number 59, Petersburg. And this is for delivery of the Parliament, or to Parliament Street, excuse me. To the Secretary of the Board of Trade in London, shocked by the sad news of the terrible calamity at sea that has cost so many human lives and deprived English shipping of one of its finest vessels, I beg you to accept that in this misfortune, the expression of my deepest sorrows and sympathy. N. 3299, Minister of Grade and Industry. Wow. Let's see. I don't know if this is another telegram. This looks like a map. Longitude west of Grayson, I can't tell what that says. You can still see it's got the stains and the mildew. And it's showing the position of Carpathia in relations to Titanic. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'll put up photographs of everything, and I'll put them up in 4K so that hopefully you can pause and really check them out. Okay, what's this now? Number of women and children of all classes that were lost is 156. So this is a table. Let's see, showing the number of women, men, children in each class together with the crew carried in the SS Titanic, and the number of percentage saved in each category so far is at present be ascertained by owners of the vessel. So according to this chart, you can see that we got the first class, the second class, the third class, the total passengers, and then crew, and then total passengers and crew. So for the men, in the first class, there were 173, and 58 was saved, and that's 34%. There were 160 men in second class, and 13 was saved, and that was an 8% ratio. In the third class, there was 454 men, 55 were saved, and that's 12%. So the total passengers carried were 787 men, 126 were saved, and that was a 16% save rate. So with the crew, there was 875, there was 189 saved, so that was a 22% save rate. So total passengers and crew of the men were 1,662. Of that, 315 was saved, and they were able to save 19%. Of the women in first class, there were 144, Of them, wow, 139 were saved. So that's a 97% save rate. In the second class, 93 was totaled, and 78 of them were saved. So that's an 84% rate. The third class, there was 179, and 98 were saved, and that's a 55% save rate. So the total passengers that were women were 416, 315 were saved, so that's 76%. Of the crew, they were 23 females. Of the female crew of Titanic, 21 were saved. That's a 91% save rate. So the total number of women on Titanic was 439. Of that, 336 were saved, and that's a final save rate of 77%. So the children now, in the first class, there was 5 children, and all 5 of them were saved, and that's a 100% save rate. The second class, there were 24 children, and all 24 of them were saved. In the third class, there were 76 children, and only 23 of them were saved, and that's a 30% save rate. So the total number of children on board Titanic were 105. Of them, 52 were saved, and that's a 49% save rate. So we look down at the totals according to this. So the people in first class were 322. Of that number, 202 were saved, and that's a 63% save rate. Second class total, 277 people, 115 were saved, and that's 42%. Third class were 709 in total, 176 were saved, 25%. So for the total passengers on Titanic, there were 1,308. There was 493 saved, and it was only a 38% save rate. Of the crew, we had 898 people, 210 were saved, and that's a 23% save rate. So looking over at the total passengers and crew on the bottom, the grand number is 2,206 souls, 703 were saved, and that was a 32% success rate. So this is interesting. I don't know, this is from 1912, so I'm wondering how this had changed as of now. It looks like we have a letter. So we have a handwritten letter. And let's see, this would be from Alfred Fernand Amont on his oath with as follows. So I guess this is an official document of witness. I am I'm going to try to read through this. I'm having a hard time reading it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, once it's in the computer, I can enlarge it, because I'm just having a hard time reading this because it's kind of small. But this might warrant its own video as well, guys. Or I might make this part of the book. We'll see how that goes. Okay, this is Loss of Titanic. And I don't know if I had read you this. This might be something that I had read from the Memorial Edition from 1912, The Sinking of Titanic. Let's see, this is The Loss of the Titanic. This is E.J. Singleton Smith. Ah, they lie there cold, both the young and old, who wrapped in a sleep of death and a farewell word, unheeded, unheard, is choked in his dying breath. Engulfed in a wave, for a few could they save, struck down and be rid of life, and a hapless youth, and a dreadful truth was borne ashore to the wife. Sadly we all think of the hearts that sink when news of the dead appears, of everyone's woe, at the crashing blow of the wives' and sisters' tears. Oh, should we not then, for those noble men, feel the pride no words can tell? for they gave up all the mighty's call and met their doom right well. E.J. Singleton Smith. St. Margaret's College. This is dated April 22nd of 1912. Look at the price, 1.5D, I'm not sure what that is. So on the back, it's the Titanic's heroic band. Sweet, brilliant strains of music was wafting through the air of the deep and vast Atlantic. All seemed bright and fair, as the fine and great Titanic sped gracefully along, with many voices on board heard in joyous song. For it was the maiden voyage of that magnificent ship, and hearts were filled with the grandeur of the trip. While over the sparkling ocean the ship did grandly ride, which infused with admiration and much joy beside. For all those had looked forward to the monarch of the sea was launched upon the water, would plow the waves successfully. Let's see, what is this now? This looks like another, it's either a telegram or, it looks like a letter. So this is the Dock, Wharf, Riverside and General Workers Union of Great Britain and Ireland. You can see the letterhead. Let's see, the executive of the Dock, Wharf, Riverside and General Workers Union hereby offers its sincere condolences to the bereaved relatives of the third-class passengers of the SS Titanic, whose sinking was tragic and we deplore. We also send our sincerest regret to the relatives of the crew who were drowned. We also offer our strongest protest against the wanton and callous disregard of human life and the various class antagonism shown in the practical forbidding of the saving of the lives of the third-class passengers. The refusal to permit other than first-class passengers to be saved by the boats is, in our opinion, a disgrace to our common civilization. We therefore call upon the government to the Board of Trade to insist on a provision of adequate life-saving appliances in boats, rafts, and belts, which shall not only provide means of safety to the passengers, but to the whole members of the ship's staff. We express our regret in that order to save time and costs at the risk of life, shorter and quicker routes were installed in spite of the knowledge of the presence of ice. We trust the saving of so many first-class passengers, their lives will not be deadened to the solace of the government for the lives of those who belong to the wage-earning classes, and call upon the members of the Labor Party to force upon the government the necessities to protect all the lives of all the mariners and all the passengers, irregardless of class or trade. Signed by the executive, Ben Tillett. Well, someone who is not a millionaire, I can relate to this and respect this. Let's see. This looks like a list of the particulars. So, if I remember, we have, where is that? Is this what we needed to see? So this will explain. I'm sorry, I forgot about this. So this is going to explain to us what this is. Is that what this is? Nope. Okay, so here it is. This is the agreement and crew list. The agreement and crew list contains details of all the crew on board R.M.S. Titanic. The greasers and the firemen shown here would have been engaged in keeping the engines of the ship operational at all times. All the men shown here drowned. Well, that kind of put a damper on that. So these crew members all perished. And you can see again the previous assignments, the previous ships, the location, their signatures. Wow. And again, guys, this could almost be its own video. There's just so much here. It's when it comes to Titanic, there's just so much to, and I want to cover as much as I can for you guys, but it's just so much. Okay, now this looks like another letter, and this is from Hamburg, America. This looks like it's June 22nd of 1912, and it's stamped M18225. So the letter reads, "Gentlemen, referring to our respects of yesterday's date and its further reply to your favor of the 6th inset, we now have the logbook of the President Lincoln before us, which contains the following notes. April 11th, between 8 and 10 p.m., foggy, temperature, seawater 0 degrees Celsius, engines slowly ahead, 10 p.m., clear weather, full speed ahead. April 12th, 4:20 a.m., course south 73 degrees west, true course, clear weather, saw 2 icebergs, one ahead of us and the other north, very near to the ship. Engines full speed ahead, about 14 knots per hour. 4:50 a.m., saw large masses of fields of ice extending to the south and southeast. Altered our courses to the SC to the southeast, engines slowly ahead until 7 a.m. No ice in sight to the west and to the southwest. 6 a.m., full speed ahead. Wind northwest, the sea was calm." And so on. As the Prince Adalbert arrives here, we shall send you all the details we can gather in regards to the questions B and C of your letter of the 6th inst. 6th institution, I wonder. Meanwhile, we remain gentlemen, your most obedient servants, the Assistant Secretary, Board of Trade, Marine Department, London. You can see a signature. So this is a transcript of register for transmission to Registrar General Shipping and Seamen. Alright, so this is a very impressive looking document, and I'm sure it was a lot larger. As all of these, I'm sure, were a lot larger in the original. I'm just going to go ahead and read you the description for this. So this is the certificate of seaworthiness. The owners of British ships had to register their vessels at a specific port. They were issued this certificate. Each recorded the ownership of the vessel. Applications also had to supply full details of the dimensions, tonnage, and horsepower of the engines. So this is the document that has all that information. And written in red is the registry closed 31st of May 1912. Vessel wrecked in the Atlantic Ocean, 14th of April of 1912. Certificate of registry lost with the vessel. Administration received from the assistant manager Form 20, the June 3rd, 1912. So that's what is written in red. Wow. Again, this could be its own video. Okay, looks like we have one final document. And this looks like a letter as well. And you can see the White Star letterhead from Liverpool. And this is dated April 16th of 1912. Sir Walter J. Howell, KCB, Marine Department, Board of Trade, 7 Whitehall Gardens, London. Dear Sir, further to our communication of yesterday, we're extremely sorry to have to send you the following wire this morning. Referring telegram yesterday, Titanic, deeply grieved, say that during the night we received words steamer founded, about 675 souls, mostly women and children, saved, which we now beg to confirm. Yours faithfully, for Ismay and R.M.S and Company. You can faintly see the stamp. And lastly, we have the little book, and it shows the registration cards of everything we had gone through. For the most part, we were able to make sense of what we were looking at. The copies of the telegrams, the agreement and the crew list, this came in handy. The charts, a lot of the letters that we had read. On the letter that was written in handwriting is the statement by Alfred Fernand Aumont. In this account prepared by the Board Trade of Inquiry, Alfred Aumont, first-class passenger, describes the chaos surrounding the sinking of the ship. Both the crew and passengers seemed to be mesmerized by the myth that the ship was unsinkable. And again, like I said, guys, that could almost be its own video. So, just about everything else we looked at, we were able to tell what it was by reading it. Down to the blueprints. So this is from the National Archives of London. So this was quite the little package. This was really great. I didn't know what I was missing when I had gotten this. My wife had gotten me this when it actually came out. I don't remember if it was a birthday present or for Christmas, but this is just packed full of fantastic stuff, and I can't wait to watch the DVD. You know what? I might include, that's what I might do. I'll watch the movie, I'll review it, all the music, and I'll do a little video including the letter that was handwritten, and I'll put some more little detail into the next update video on this. As when it comes to the book, this is going to be its own video. There's a lot in here, and I want to give this little book the credit it deserves. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I rattled on, but there was a lot in here to show you guys. And think of the history in this. Yes, they are reproductions, but these are reproduced from the originals. So that's something to think about. This is actually what is on the originals. So this is just amazing. And I thank you guys for sharing this opening with me, the unboxing of that, the Titanic 100 Years Below. So my friends, until the next video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.